the Pentagon must release a bunch of things that they know about UFO or UAP phenomenon. So that's happening this month because it was part of his. So thanks to Trump, a little bit, some things will be released. Now, it could be more of the same. Like, yeah, we already knew this. People see things, they don't know what it is. But it gets the conversation going that there really isn't just this dead UFO file back from Roswell, and every president goes, oh, who knows what that was? It is actively happening, because in this 60 Minutes special that I saw, there's one Navy pilot who said he sees unidentified flying objects in restricted airspace every day for the last few years. Every day. Now, what's so interesting to me about that is, okay, he says, everyone says, could it be China or Russia? And he's like, well, yeah, but I mean, we're also not terrible at our jobs. So like, that's why we're there. Like, yeah, we're trying to see if China or Russia is spying on us. And I'm telling you, it doesn't seem like it's China or Russia. That's why it's very scary and also very weird. I mean, they have to look at it from a practical standpoint, from our airspace is not protected. We are open and vulnerable to an attack, whether it's from an alien or something else. But, and so, you could argue the past couple of years, like, well, Trump, is in bed with China and Russia in certain ways. Maybe he just lets them spy on us. Okay, but the technology these people are seeing, it's a little crazy that it's human technology with the way they can just disappear so fast and so it's like, yeah, there's a bunch of questions. And I think what the government is, this is the part I don't get, and I know I'm like not finishing the article, I'm getting into my opinion already, but this is the part that I just don't relate to. So there's a notion that the government doesn't want us to know, and again, the cutesy, folksy reason was, oh, they just don't want to have a mass panic, or this could really freak people out and take away everything they think about their religion. I don't believe that they're worried about mass panic, because we've had mass panic, guns. Well, then why don't they want to get rid of fucking machine guns? Guns cause mass panic. 9/11 caused mass panic. The pandemic, we've had mass panics about things that were actually happening. If someone said there's aliens, I mean, what's the mass panic gonna do? Like, how would that, why, they just care about our feelings? Because I don't think that's true. So the mass panic would be what? What would that look like that they don't want to unleash? Protests? I don't think so. Civil unrest? I mean, you know what I mean? We already have mass situations every day. Cops killing black people, civil unrest. I don't really understand what this mass panic is that they want to avoid. The people in the streets going, blah, 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 like, what do they think is going to happen? What they're really saying, this is my opinion, is that there's going to be a mass loss of trust in the government to protect us. Now, I say we already crossed that bridge on 9/11, when the government failed to protect us. Now, you can go into, I'm not talking about even conspiracy theories. I'm talking about the basic, as someone who was in New York that day, I mean, even the dumbest little things. Like, I remember when that tower was on fire, I was thinking, oh, well, any minute now, the nets that go window to window between the two towers will be released. And everyone will be able to jump into the nets, and then the helicopters will come, and the fire station will get their ladders really high, and we'll get all the people out. I mean, I literally was like, wait, there's no plan for if people are trapped on the top floors of a building because of, at the very least, a fire? Holy fuck. Like, no plan. The, failure of imagination that people with box cutters could hijack a plane. Meanwhile, people have been hijacking planes since the 80s. It was like the biggest thing. So we had no protection against that. We didn't even have TSA yet, but I'm not talking about the security people. Why weren't pilot doors sealed and locked? That wasn't a thing before 9/11. We couldn't get into the cockpit. You could get into the cockpit. Okay, and so They fired Richard Clark. The Bush administration fired Richard Clark. He was the anti-terrorism expert under Reagan, Bush 1, and Clinton. And he was sounding the alarm about Osama bin Laden. This guy wants to attack America. Even before the presidential briefing that that Bush and Condoleezza ignored that said bin Laden determined to attack in America. Bin Laden had attacked the Trade Center before in the 90s under Clinton. It was just a little bombing, a little nothing. But Clinton was after bin Laden. And people said he was wagging the dog because of Monica Lewinsky. They said he was trying to distract by trying to do strategical airstrikes in Afghanistan against bin Laden. Clinton was on it. He was taking advice from Richard Clark, who was telling him, I am the counterterrorism expert. We got a problem with Osama bin Laden and the Taliban. Okay, the Bush people fired Richard Clark. I mean, I think it was all Cheney, because they didn't want to hear it. They thought he was partisan, which makes no sense. He'd worked mostly for Republicans, but they're just like, yeah, nah. They made it all about Saddam Hussein and not bin Laden. So why am I going on this rant? Because I'm saying, look how much the government didn't already protect us on that day. I am under no illusion that my government is supposed to protect me. I mean, even when we were in the Cold War with Russia, when I was a little kid, it wasn't just, oh, Russia might nuke us. It was mutually assured destruction. We had nukes too. We could nuke back. We could nuke first. I never felt the government was protecting me. I think that is perhaps something for generations older than me. I don't even know. If you read this book, Hitler in Los Angeles, which was about how Hitler wanted to take over Hollywood to make propaganda films and how there was a giant Nazi party in America. And when we went to World War II, it was nothing to do with anti-Semitism and trying to get rid of Hitler. We were going to do nothing about Hitler. There were spies that were trying to tell Congress people there is a huge fascist party in America that wants white power. It was huge back then. It was as big as it is today. And there were Hitler operatives in America, all over. And the government eventually ended up protecting us overseas by fighting, they were so worried about communism, they weren't thinking about Hitler. They really weren't taking it seriously. You got to read this book. Anyway, I never thought the government was protecting me. I mean, I don't think that a government's out to get me, but I'm just saying, the government's run by humans. People are fallible. They make mistakes. They go down the wrong path. They don't follow the trail they're supposed to be following. They are irrational. I mean, I take it as part of my anything can happen. I can die by any reason. The part of it is because the government can't protect me. And by the way, I'm not saying they should. I'm not well, government's my daddy. So yeah, I'm it's sort of I don't have that weird illusion. Oh no, that might break, But the thing is, what they're having to admit is we don't know what these things are in the airspace. If it is China and Russia, boy, do we look fucking stupid. And are we really behind on whatever technology they have? And what are we going to do? However, this is what I don't understand. If indeed it is aliens, who would be upset at the government? I don't understand that. I'm upset at the government for their failure on 9/11. I mean, this was easily preventable. I really believe it was. But an alien attack, or just the very least aliens in our airspace, I'm not why didn't the government get on that? Why aren't they better at that? Now, you could argue, well, Jen, no, they could have actually taken it more seriously, but there's such a stigma that they really didn't do anything, and maybe we could have been designing this, that, the other. I get it. But we were also working on Star Wars in the 80s, not the movie, but a shield that would kind of go up into space and prevent Russia from being able to nuke us. I mean, there were more kind of real world things going on, in every generation, And so I'm just not gonna be mad at the government if they can't protect me from fucking aliens. If aliens are real, do you understand that that means there is a being out there that has figured out, it's basically time travel. If they're millions of galaxies away, how the fuck do they get here? And they may not be in the vehicle. I get it. But whatever, they've figured out something that is like beyond our ability to understand science. I'm not like, government fucked up again, not protecting us from aliens. I'll give them a pass on that one. I'm going to say, you know what? We're not there yet as a species. That's not a governmental issue. It's a human issue. I literally don't understand the person that would be like, I'm pretty disappointed in my government. That's what I take away from this aliens are here thing. And I don't believe in the government anymore. And I'm not going to vote. Frankly, I'm not. They're all the same. These politicians who haven't figured out how to time travel and you know, the time-space continuum. I mean, please, why couldn't they figure that out? I'm telling you, I'm not voting.